guys, so today we're doing kind of an old school swatch video without my face in it. I just don't have time to get an intro and outro done this weekend. This collection's been out for a little while, so I do want to post it as soon as possible. So today I have the Essie Peachside Babe Summer 2015 collection. There are 6 polishes in this collection. I got these from livelovepolish.com. They are carrying Essie now, so I will link livelovepolish.com down below where you guys can check these out, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Private Weekend, and this is a white with a silver shimmer. So here is one coat of Private Weekend. This one covers pretty well on the first coat for being a white with shimmer. I was expecting a white polish with shimmer to be really sheer. I mean, this is streaky, so it is going to need at least one more coat, but it still covers pretty well. This does have a bizarre formula. It feels watery, but it doesn't want to run. The shimmer in there is a little bit gritty. You can't feel it, but when you're applying it, it almost looks like you're spreading, like, you know how when sour cream gets warm, it gets like kind of curdly? That's what it looks like when you're spreading it on. I'm sure it'll be fine after the second coat, but the first coat is just totally weirding me out. So there is one coat of Private Weekend. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Private Weekend. This one covers completely for me in 2 coats, but I can see where depending on your application you might need 3. The weird gritty cottage cheesy texture doesn't really matter too much on the second coat, but the shimmer that's you see in the bottle is not translating to the nail at all. I went out right in front of my window and I really wasn't able to see it. So there is 2 coats of Private Weekend. The next polish is called Chilato, and this is a light pistachio green. I don't even know if I would consider it pistachio. It's got a lot of yellow in it for that, but it is a light green. So here is one coat of Chilato. This one covers okay on the first coat. It's a bit streaky and patchy, so it is going to need at least one more, but I'm thinking probably 3. The formula on this one feels a little bit watery too. It's not like unbearably thin, but it definitely feels watery. So there is one coat of Chilato. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here's 2 coats of Chilato. So this one is still considerably streaky after 2 coats, so it is going to need a third. Again, this one feels watery and thin, but it's not running down to the sides of my nail, which is kind of weird because you'd think if it's thin it's going to run, but not necessarily because this one isn't doing it. So there is 2 coats of Chilato. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a third coat. So here's 3 coats of Chilato. So this one does cover completely on 3 coats, but I am doing a thicker third coat to make sure that it covers. Again, kind of a thin formula, but it's not, I mean, I'm getting used to it as I go on. So there is 3 coats of Chilato. So the next polish is called Saltwater Happy, and this is a baby blue cream. The closest polish I have to this one is Bikini So Teeny, which is a little bit darker and also has that silver shimmer in it. So here is one coat of Saltwater Happy. This one actually covers really well on the first coat. Not what I was expecting at all. It is going to need 2 because it's a little tiny bit streaky, but just barely. For being a light color and being an Essie, this is very impressive coverage. The formula on this one is a bit thick. It's easy to apply, but it is thick. But the thickness also contributes to it being so opaque. So there is one coat of Saltwater Happy. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Saltwater Happy. This one covers completely in 2 coats. Like I said, it was nearly a 1-coater, just had a few streaks. Again, thicker formula, but that does help it be opaque quicker. So there is 2 coats of Saltwater Happy. The next polish is called Peachside Babe, and this is a coral cream. This is not quite a dupe, but nearly identical to Stones and Roses from the Resort collection from this year. So here's one coat of Peachside Babe. This one covers pretty well on the first coat. It is still streaky, so it is going to need a second, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 2-coater. The formula on this is really good. It's not too thick, not too thin, really easy to apply. So there is one coat of Peachside Babe. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Peachside Babe. So this one is completely opaque in 2 coats, but I can see where depending on your application you might need 3 because it is very hard to get this streakless. I'm having to do a very thick second coat. The formula is good though, like I said, really easy to apply, not too thick or too thin. So there is 2 coats of Peachside Babe. So the next polish is called Pret-a-Surfer, and this is a dusty medium blue. It is not a dupe for Sally Hansen's Pacific Blue. It's not nearly bright enough for that. The closest thing that I have is Essie's Mesmerized, and it is much, much darker. So here's one coat of Pret-a-Surfer. This polish is completely opaque in one coat. I have no streaks, no bald spots, easily opaque in one coat. This one is opaque in one coat because it is so thick. It's not stringy, but it is thick enough that it's difficult to apply. So it's not terrible, it's not impossible. It will take a little bit of getting used to because it's not the easiest formula. So there is one coat of Pret-a-Surfer. And the last polish is called Sunset Sneaks, and this is a pinky red or a reddish pink. It's kind of right on the line between the two. It is not showing up on my camera right at all. It's definitely looking like an orangey red on camera here, but it's definitely a pinky red. The closest thing I have to this is Cute as a Button, which is a lot lighter and a lot more obviously pinky. So here's one coat of Sunset Sneaks. This one is nearly opaque in one coat, but it is a little bit streaky still, so it is going to need a second. The formula on this is good. It's a little bit on the thick side, just like Pret-a-Surfer was, but it's not as thick. It's a little bit easier to work with. So there is one coat of Sunset Sneaks. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here's two coats of Sunset Sneaks. This one covers completely on two coats. I do feel like it dries a little bit darker than it applies. Again, thicker formula, a little bit hard to work with, but not terrible. So there is two coats of Sunset Sneaks. So my favorite in this collection is Saltwater Happy because for an Essie, for a baby blue, it has a fantastic formula. I'm really, really impressed with how well this covered, even on the first coat. Two coats and it was completely opaque, and you don't see that in baby blues, you don't see that in light Essie formulas. I'm just really, really impressed with this one. I wish that my favorite could have been Pret-a-Surfer because it was a one coater, but it was just too thick to work with, and I would rather do two coats and have them be easy than have one difficult coat for full opacity. So that is the Essie Summer 2015 Peachside Babe collection. Again, these came from Live Love Polish, so I will link them down below. I will have swatches of all these colors to my Instagram account shortly after the video goes up. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.